Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel for another quick update on the Bitcoin on-chain metrics. Today we're going to be momentarily talking about the Bitcoin realized price. Now, this is a great metric to understand when the average investor, or specifically when the average buy-in of the Bitcoin price is under the water. Let's explain realized price quickly and then we will jump into the chart. So what is the realized price? Bitcoin's realized price is the value of all Bitcoins at the price they were bought divided by the number of Bitcoins in circulation. This gives us the average cost basis. That is the key word here, the average cost basis at which Bitcoins were purchased, which is another way of describing the realized price. So unlike the market cap, which tells us the price of Bitcoin right now, the realized price simply tells us the average purchase price of all Bitcoins in circulation. So as you can imagine, when the realized price is above the Bitcoin price, and we can see this over in this chart here, we've got a key down here, the blue line / black line is the BTC price on a logarithmic growth curve scale, and this orange line is the realized price. So you can see, in this market structure over here, we spent 4 months beneath the realized price, meaning that the average price that people bought Bitcoin for was underwater. So let's say hypothetically, most people bought Bitcoin for, $10 to $20, and the realized price was sitting about $5 to $6 of that range, meaning that most people were underwater when the price action moved below the realized price. That's fairly simple to state. This was one of our longer market structures where we actually spent the good part of 9 months. And I say 9 months because, this says it was from January to October, but we really didn't get out until pretty much the exact end of October. So, this was basically a 9-month structure where we were stuck beneath the realized price. Moving over into the bear market of 2018 from November to the start of April, and bear in mind this was basically the end of November coming into the start of December, so this would be about 5 months beneath the price. So as you can tell, within these charts, sometimes we spend a few months, sometimes we spend 9 months, sometimes we spend 4 months. Within the pandemic drop, we were out of this in 2 weeks, or more specifically, we were out of here in a week. March the 12th is when we capitulated below the realized price, and we were out by March the 19th. So why do we look at this metric? Well, it's fairly obvious to say that Bitcoin has been on a massive parabolic growth since its inception back around 2009 to 2010 when it started trading. Now, it is very rare to find that the majority of Bitcoin traders are under the water, and we can tell this by the realized price because, like we said, with the realized price, this gives us the average cost basis at which Bitcoins were purchased. And as the buying power of Bitcoin keeps on increasing, and I say the buying power because in my opinion, Bitcoin is a currency. It's also a digital bank in cyberspace. It's also the greatest asset in mankind. So, there's a lot of things that you could call Bitcoin, but for the sake of this, let's just say it's a currency. So as you can tell, over time, the buying power of Bitcoin is exponentially increasing when we are pricing it against the US dollar, which you can see here on the y-axis. So why is this important? As you can tell, the average cost basis is the average price that most people buy Bitcoin at, and we very rarely spend any time below the realized price. And if we do, the most we spent is about 9 months. If we add up the average of all of our drops so far, so back here, this was about 4 months. Over here, this was 9 months. Over here, this was about 4 months again, and here this only was a week, so we're not going to take this one into consideration because we're basically rounding them up or down. So with that being said, this is saying 94 for some reason. I don't know why it's saying 94, so maybe we times it by accident. So we've got the 9 month here, then we've got a 4 month and a 4 month, so we'll add 8. And as you can tell, so this was your 4 month, this was your 9 month. And once again, this was about a 5 month actually. So if we add another 1 to that, you can see we've spent in total approximately 18 months below the realized price. Now, why is this important to know? Well, we've done this once, twice, and 3 times potentially even 4 times. If you want to divide it by 4 to encompass this data point, you definitely can. I would say that it would be worth including that data point, as we are talking about capitulations below the realized price. And if we're talking about on average, then we should definitely include this data point. With that being said, if we divide the summation of all the time that we spent beneath the realized price, if we divide that by the amount of, or the number of times that we have capitulated below the realized price, which is 4 times so far, then you will see on average we spend 4.5 months beneath the realized price, which gives us a fairly good indicator and a fairly good signal that if on average we are going to continue what we've been doing in terms of the Bitcoin realized price, which is predominantly, 80 to 90% of the time staying above the realized price, then we should expect that if on average this is going to play out as it has previously done, we should not be spending more than 9 months beneath this market structure. We should be spending at the very least a week below this market structure, but taking into the averages, we should be beneath here for about 4 to 5 months. Considering we capitulated below this in June, this would be spelling that we could be having a reversal above the realized price by the end of the year. So once again, the realized price is a great way of understanding what the average cost basis of Bitcoin is. It tells us at this moment in time that the average cost basis is sitting at 22,500. And historically, if you buy when Bitcoin is beneath the realized price, you almost always have the highest gains to trade. Now, on my channel, I like to look at as many on-chain metrics, social metrics, charts, market structures, moving averages, and everything I can from previous structures to try and nail as close to the bottom as we can. And this is why we are looking at this chart. This chart is saying, while we might not be at the bottom yet, while it might take another couple of months to get to that bottom, it is on average probably a great place to stack up on Bitcoin for the long term. So if you are new to my channel, first of all, warm welcome. The seasoned veterans of my channel who do watch have known that I have been buying Bitcoin down from 25,000. I've been sitting on the sidelines for months now, and I've been saying I'm buying Bitcoin in $1,000 increments from 25,000. Considering the Bitcoin price capitulated almost down to 17k, that means I bought at 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, and 18, and I am going to continue buying in $1,000 increments down to 14,000. So the reason why I'm talking about 14,000 is because this is where our Elliott wave structure would be. Let's see, I'm really just going to draw it very quickly because I don't want to make this a TA video, but nonetheless, if you are new to the channel, I'll show you why. Coming up to 14,000, this was our one wave in terms of the macro impulse waves. Now, I'm really not going to draw all of the micro waves within them. If you do want the microwaves and all of that, then check out my Bitcoin Elliott wave videos. But historically and always, if Elliott wave theory is going to play out, we bottom between the 1 and the 3 wave. As we're already down here, this should mean that, in my opinion, this green box down here between 14,000 and 20,000 should mark the bottom for Bitcoin. And this is, this is nodded on, this is agreed upon when we look at the Bitcoin realized price. So I am going to be doing my best to DCA as much Bitcoin as I can down at these levels, but bear in mind, I do think we probably do have one last final capitulation, just like we did when we broke below the realized price here. We back tested it, had one last capitulation. What do we do here? We broke down, almost back tested it, one last capitulation. We basically massively capitulated here. And this was just a quick capitulation that lasted 2 weeks. But you can see we actually back tested it a couple of days later and then made the final capitulation. So a lot of signs point to the fact that we've broken down, we've pulled up to back test, and I think we're getting ready for the final capitulation on the BTC USD price. That's all I've got today for the realized price. I hope you enjoyed today's content. I hope you found some value in the video. And as always, Cowboy out. Peace.